What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Nick Diaz coming back to the UFC. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick, as we talked about in the intro and as it's been reported, Nick Diaz is coming back to the UFC after suffering his 5-year suspension. He is finally coming back, just 1 year removed from being able to. And now he's looking to get right back into the octagon. He will be facing Robbie Lawler at UFC 266. So not only do we get the news that he's coming back, but he's automatically going right into a camp and competing at the highest level, UFC 266. He will be on the main card in a 5-round fight. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Oh, dude, this is so exciting. It was late last year when we saw the video of Nick Diaz working out, getting ready, and was like, oh my God, is he actually thinking about returning? And then things kind of went hush hush for a while and was like, oh, maybe it was just noise. Maybe it's not actually going to happen. But then Nate Diaz made his return, and now we get Nick Diaz back. I mean, having the Diaz brothers back in the UFC, it just feels great. It feels wholesome. It feels like the old UFC again. And it feels like we finally have some guys who can carry the UFC forward while they work their way through a transition. They just lost Khabib. Connor's out for a while. Now you've got Nate and Nick back who can take over in the interim. I think this is perfect for the UFC. This is what we all want and we all need. This is going to be fantastic, and I think that this is going to be the start of something big for Nick Diaz in this restart of his career.
Yeah, listen, Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, these guys are so electric. Anytime they're in the octagon, it is just absolute. Every eyeball is on top of them. The spotlight is on them, and they thrive in that moment. So Nick Diaz coming back, fighting Robbie Lawler, who is a really good fighter in and of his own right, but you know that everybody and their mother is going to be rooting for Nick Diaz in his first fight coming back to the UFC. He is going to have the entire world behind him. And he's just one of those guys that you can just get behind and understand that he is going to give you the show and the spectacle that you're looking for when you watch the UFC.
Yeah, and they did this justice too by putting it back in the T-Mobile Arena where we just were for 264 in Vegas. It's going to be so loud. We're going to hear it on the East Coast. It's going to be fantastic to hear that crowd absolutely blow the roof off the place. I can't wait to see this. And having him fight a guy like Robbie Lawler, a guy who they fought in 2004 in a fantastic fight that everybody should go back and watch in preparation for this fight. Robbie Lawler is a guy who went on to be the UFC welterweight champion, a guy who has a Hall of Fame career. He's been in the UFC since 2001, an absolute monster of a guy. He may be on the downside of his career, but him and Nick are right around the same age, and with Nick having all that time off, having all that ring rust, I think these two are absolutely perfect matchups for each other. They're going to bring the pain. They're going to be going after each other just like they did in the first matchup. I really like this, and I think that this is going to be an even better show than we got from Nate Diaz.
Yeah, and I just want to revisit quickly. I talked about that he was banned for 5 years and that last year was his first year back for eligibility. Back in 2015, for those of you who don't know, Nick Diaz was suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for essentially just marijuana. He tested positive for marijuana, but based on what their findings were, it was not only marijuana, but his blatant disrespect and disregard for their rules, saying that he didn't even try to hide the fact that, he was smoking weed. He was just, he didn't care that he was going to test positive, and that's why they gave him a 5-year ban on top of a $165,000 fine. The Nevada State Athletic Commission now recently has been the first athletic commission of its kind to allow for marijuana to be used in their testing, so that they will no longer be testing for THC levels, and they're going to move on with just other drugs and performance enhancing substances as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way it really should be, especially since the UFC adopted this rule. It really should not be left up to the athletic commission, in my opinion. It should be up to the company, the UFC, they're ruling whether they want to test for THC, because honestly, it's not a performance enhancer. There's no reason to. I think, it's about time that they become a little more relaxed on this, but honestly, it's going to bode well for Nick Diaz in his return. I think that he may be 37 years old, but having 5, 6 years off, he's still a young fighter at heart, and his body is still young too. I think that he's still able to absorb a lot of punishment. He definitely does not have the damage on his face like Nate does, so I think he'll be able to hold up more in these battles he'll have, such as the one with Robbie Lawler. So I think Nick Diaz is in a really good spot right now, and I think this is a prime matchup for him to make his comeback.
Absolutely. And before we get going, I just want to hear from you, Nick. Nick Diaz wins this fight. Let's just assume. Who do you want to see him fight next?
It's a really good question. Obviously, he's not going to fight his brother. We all know that they partner with they train with each other every single day. There's absolutely no way that would ever happen. Honestly, if there's anybody in the welterweight division I would like to see him face, it'd probably be Jorge Masvidal. We already saw Nate fight him for the BMF title. If Nate's not going to get the fight against Jorge, give it to Nick and have him fight for the BMF title. They're all BMFs in my book, but I think that those are the only three that can really fight for the title. And I think that it would be more than right, especially if Nick gets the win, to give him that opportunity.
Absolutely. I would love to see a Jorge Masvidal Nick Diaz fight. The Nate Diaz Jorge Masvidal fight was one for the ages, so I can only imagine what adding Nick Diaz to this would look like. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.